Nidalee is out, Rek'Sai is out, Quinn Gangplank. Kog'Maw's still open and available. Old school champion as well if Tabs wants to risk it. So is Lucian, somebody that we've seen still remain incredibly relevant. But what do ROCCAT and Splyce prefer on 6.3?
I mean, Tabs feels to me like he would love the Kog'Maw. He would love to play like a Kog'Maw-oriented composition, and that would put Betsy more in his Gambit shoes, where he has to play utility mid laner. Lulu is available, so by all means, ROCCAT could go for that style, and it could work against Splyce, who are relatively hesitant in the mid game. All they need to do is put Freddy on a champion that survives against Wunderwear, and suddenly we may have a stylistic mismatch that may work.
If you pick one, Kog'Maw, does the other team get Lulu? We may find that answer out shortly. Splyce, not
you have
really.
to, kind of.
Lulu's not really a champion they play. Once on Senkux, and it was a loss. So it's tough.
Yeah, it kind of makes the Kog'Maw pick worth it, because either you get the Lulu later, or you put Senkux, the hard carry from Splyce, on the utility champion. If you look at some of their stats, only in 10% of the kills that Splyce have, Senkux was not involved. So he's in 90% of their kills. Okay, this is excluding last week the second game, so maybe that has changed a little bit, but up to the first 9 games, 10% of kills, that's the only thing that Senkux was not involved in. He has his hand in every single kill almost. Putting him on a utility champion would obviously kind of defy the purpose.
Yeah, win-win for ROCCAT either way. Splyce decided not to go for the Lulu, so now we're expecting that.
I mean, they can go for it later. If they haven't revealed it here, the same still applies. Senkux will lose his counter pick in mid lane, which he kind of likes, and he will be put on utility. So ROCCAT doesn't have to pick it up right here. I wouldn't say win-win just yet, because they are playing into a Kalistar lane, which is incredibly strong 2v2, and it only takes one misstep from Kog'Maw to get absolutely snowballed upon.
And we'll see who his lane support will be. Tank for most likely Freddy in the top lane.
A lot of solo queue or dynamic queue has been running Braum Kog'Maw, just additional appeal to keep him alive. Basically saying, we can't keep you out of harm's way. We could try with Janna, but we just assume that you will get caught, then we'll just eat the projectiles instead.
Okay. It's a different approach to protect the Kog,
yeah,
right?
protect the Kog'Maw. It's just kind of babysit, you know? Like, take away as many knives and sharp objects as you can from the baby. Hopefully he grows up to be a strong, beautiful, elegant man one day and kill everyone.
That got
Metaphors,
dark.
yeah.
That got real dark real quick. Let's
ROCCAT.
see if Extinct decides that. Looking at his champion pool, 3 games played on Braum. It is his most played. Then Alistar and Poppy. Poppy's still available as well if you wanted to go that route.
Ooh. Trashy.
Jungle Rumble?
He can play it,
Oh.
but he could only do well against it against a very mediocre Creponivia mid. So he did camp my lane a lot when he played it. To a decent effect. Rumble Jungle, interesting pick. We'll get into that once it actually ever gets picked.
Yeah.
We'll leave that to the Fisio later on.
Seen it over in LCK. I would like to see it back, because Rumble's one of my favorite champions. But for Splyce, got themselves good hard engage with Lissandra. You've got Elise in the jungle, Trashy in the bot lane, so they're leaving their counter pick for most likely Senkux, unless they want to put that Lissandra up top.
I wonder if ROCCAT are going for Janna here, because they're going for the tank Gragas in the jungle. No, they want more damage. See, I think this makes more sense, getting an extra damage component, because otherwise you're playing triple tanks like disengage. And yes, you can keep people alive, but against the likes of Lissandra Elise diving in, you may have too little damage to win the fight if Kog'Maw does get caught or maybe get exhausted. So this is an interesting variation too that I do like.
The Soraka?
Yeah, the Soraka plus tanks.
Why do we like the Soraka?
It's annoying to play against. If you want to tilt your opponent, you just... Have you seen Adrian when he plays Soraka? It's like, yeah, I got him. No. Heals. Depends on Extinct's positioning though. Really hard champion to play well. It's easy to abuse, but if you know the way to punish it, that makes it a very, very skill-heavy matchup. Because generally, you want to kill the Soraka first, but if she positions well, you're eating so much damage from the rest of the team that it kind of becomes not worth. So you then rely to killing the team first, but then Soraka heals them, and then you just kind of start pulling out your hair, and you're like, what the hell are we doing here, guys?
Well, if Splyce were ever going to get tested in finding the right way to engage, they've got the option to throw in Lissandra and Alistar.
Yeah.
Then Elise can jump forward, you leave Kalista exposed. They have to get through Malphite and Gragas.
Well, they can all fly over it. You know, you have Fate Skull and Kalista. It's like if there's a filter in the game with Engage, Splyce just pick 5 champions out of it. Every single champion has some meaningful CC that will be incredibly hard for Tabs to play around. A flying Alistar flying in, then have the Q flash to follow up. You have Nautilus who can just ulti, point and click. Senkux can flank in, Kobe can flash a Q. I mean, Tabs, he may get heals, but he will just get one shot, insta.
So Splyce have all the tools they need to catch out ROCCAT, but they also have to have the vision, the positioning, and the decision-making to make that work. Because if they're going one by one or miss time when to go in, there's a lot of damage on ROCCAT's side too.
And obviously you can get some fights like we saw last game where Origin, they lose their 80 carries, but suddenly all bits of gunpowder have been used up and you have Soraka alive with maybe 2 more tanks and suddenly you start regretting your life choices.
Assuming extinct positions correctly against all of this engage and all of this damage.
It's so hard though, playing Soraka Kog'Maw into Alistar Kalista. It's a very fascinating lane.
I hope we see it.
Maybe just to me.
Well, I hope we see it and we can break down the mechanics, but we're about to see the team comps once again. Reminder that this is 6.3, hence the fact that Kog'Maw was first picked by ROCCAT. They're putting their eggs in the Tabs basket. And Tabs spoke very, very strongly in that pregame video. We have to beat Splyce if we want to climb up to 7th, 8th, 9th, because they're currently sitting in 10th.
Yeah, and it'll be very interesting to keep some of these item power spikes in mind and more like power troughs. Because Kog'Maw obviously wants to go for Ginsu's Rageblade first. But then the recipe cost of that item is over 1,000 gold. And then suddenly you're in a really awkward position. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see a lane swap come out here from ROCCAT to just kind of snowball that early game, get to the item quicker.
You can see the flags lit up. Cats or snakes? Who has your favorite?
I mean, cat, is that more of a...
Cougar?
Yeah,
Puma?
Puma?
Is it a puma?
A leopard? I mean, to call it cat is to call like a Chihuahua a dog.
For anybody that's watched Red vs. Blue, is it a puma or a warthog? See how many of you catch that one. Well, hashtag ROCWin, hashtag SPYWin. Both of these teams struggling at the bottom of the table. Both of these teams being eyed out by challenger squads. Because unless something drastic happens, going into that promotion relegation. Lane swap shenanigans. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, this
Splyce
is
have already gone up top.
Yeah, so this is a predictive lane swap. Obviously, they don't want to swap out of the matchup, but they're just hoping that when they rush there and they have... Is Nautilus in full sight? Oh yeah, he's doing the... Oh guys, I'm definitely going top lane move. Standing on top of a ward. Oh, you guys saw me? Really? So, Tabs...
We're getting close to Oscar season.
Yep, this is like... it's a little bit too easy. Like, this works, but come on. It's a bit too much. At least walk away. And then now, they want to stop the Grump. Obviously, Soraka lanes never want to do Krugs, so they will find out what this laning situation is when they want to stop the Grump here. They haven't seen any wards being put down. So it's a correct move, because either way they win out. Because AD carries always take the first hits on Grump. So they would either poke Kobe and then hope to out-sustain the lane. Because the lane is definitely manageable, but Splyce think there was a swap. There's no swap. Send in this Beft out to find information.
Alright, so no swap. The Oscar award for I'm going top may be awarded or discussed to Underwear.
Definitely not. Didn't work.
He's going to move his way into the jungle to help out Trashy. And for ROCCAT, still sitting. So, map is divided.
Yep.
Are we going to be looking at a minute, 2 minutes ahead for when the tower falls? And what happens next? Or is that too soon?
We either go full Korean style where it's tower for tower and then tower for tower again. Or where the lanes kind of equal out. Betsy with some really good early trading though, because he knows both junglers are locked into double jungling. Got some really strong trades there.
And last week we talked about the jungle gravity and just how much time Airwax spends with Betsy. Now, those statistics were based around non-lane swap games.
But even in lane swaps, it's as high as 24%, I think. That's probably told me, so it's an absurd amount of time.
You can see on the minimap, Airwax crossing. Now, of course, this is because he's cleared out his quadrant of the jungle. Trashy doing similar on screen. And the tower game is on, PvE. Take note, Betsy's running Flash Cleanse into that Lissandra, into the Elise, and Senkux has got a teleport. So some map plays more available for Splyce.
I wonder, the cheeky split push mechanics here, using the Soraka to keep creeps alive. So this means Splyce are getting raced to their, are gonna race to enemy tier 2. Oh no, ROCCAT is rather. They kept the creeps alive by spamming the siege creep. Never mind. ROCCAT have no clue what they're doing. Soraka was healing the creeps, but then they failed the bounce. Now the wave is pushing, so yeah, very interesting decision making right here. Look at, if you just look at the bot lane, there was no freeze on the side of Freddy, so now he's desperately trying to push out. But he can't really do that because the enemy bot lane is coming, so he could have had this wave bounce and just be in a way better position.
How does this affect the tempo then for ROCCAT? With the wave not bouncing in their favor, does this offer more opportunity for Splyce?
Yeah, obviously, because that's the preferred gameplay. Unless you really want to push to tier 2, you never want to kind of leave the wave like that, because whoever meets that wave just gets way safer farm.
It's going to be even safer when you consider that Kabi's got Nisbet holding his hand. Senkak's already down 10 CS and constantly being poked out.
Yeah, just bought some time here for Wonderwear too. Gets a few additional creeps here, 6 CS up overall. Tabs and Extinct now heading to the top lane. But they're overextending, you know, so they need people to help them out. To join that fight right there. I wonder if we see something similar to what Longju kind of did today. I believe it was them in this phase of the lane swap. So it was mirror versus mirror, both towers up. Instead of them basing, they camped. They were camping around the Grump Bush, but the equivalent play here for Splyce would be to camp around the Crocs, wait for the Cogbound to kill the tower top, base, walk bottom, and get insta-gib. That could actually be an interesting play. I wonder if they watched that match and taken a play away from that.
If there was any team that was going to Crepo, it probably would be Splyce, because they've had a history of trying to copy-paste other team comps and other team play styles, but maybe not having a practice necessary. We'll see what Trashy does in terms of warding.
Yeah. So basically it would mean this tower goes down, and then they leave the wave right here for Karma to get come pick it up, and then Wonderwear and Kabi will take the long way around and then go hide at Krugs, wait for somebody to face check. It's a risky play though, because you lose topside control.
Maybe a lot of time if it doesn't pay off. Tower trade for tower trade. Still marginally ahead in favor of ROCCAT, that is the gold. CS differences. Betsy is pulling very far ahead of Senkak. Already got a 13 CS advantage, basically unaided. And Freddy's been given some alone time up top, so he's going to catch up to Wonderwear. Both top laners somewhat starved.
Yeah, you're going to see Senkak's kind of equal it out right now. But then obviously he still has the base. So Betsy will walk into the mid lane. He may trade obviously the teleport for some extra CS potential, but either way, Betsy pulling ahead in the midway.
Yeah.
Midway?
Midway, mid lane. Midwayne? No?
No, mid lane.
Okay.
I just can't talk.
Yeah, that's right. There is a pink ward in this bush, so Freddy's going to at least spot out Nisbet and Trashy. I think they may have turned away.
He knows that they can be coming, but he doesn't know whether they're actually there.
Hey, this is growth. Freddy used to be known for dying, being too greedy for farm.
Yeah, Freddy's lane swap style used to be run into the lane and try to CS, and then learn that he couldn't. It worked somewhat in SK for a multitude of really weird reasons, but ever since, not really anymore.
And right at the beginning of the split, Freddy spoke quite frankly about trying to reclaim his former glory, try to get back to that world performance, which truly he was a world-class top laner. He's had a very rough start to 2016.
Definitely. If we look at something you were talking a little bit earlier about the tempo, because ROCCAT kind of slowed down, you know, those minion waves, like by healing the creeps instead of letting the wave bounce, and Splyce was a little quicker. They've continuously been littering the enemy jungle with deep vision very well. First to the bottom side, then they move to the top side. They're making it so that Freddy has a hard time getting close to the waves. ROCCAT did invest their time into getting a Herald though. They're looking to siege on the tier 2. So a very turret trade heavy meta here, or game rather. It isn't necessarily meta, but it does favor the Kog'Maw. Let's not forget, he wants his Ginsus as uncontested as possible, and he's actually on that way. Look at this tower going down. This is a mistake from Splyce, not realizing that this was coming.
Might be able to equal it out. There's no support from ROCCAT.
They're going to continue.
Inhibitor turret might be under pressure. Do Splyce hold their nerve? Already recalls coming in. I don't think they even got that turret. All of a sudden, ROCCAT on the inhibitor top.
Yeah, and now those heals are paying off on the creeps, because every creep just lasts a little bit longer, especially the siege one. And Splyce completely lost here.
Oh, Wonderwear. Don't go too far forward, my friend. You've caught a minion. Body slam as the tower goes down. Drop to below half health and flashes defensively, anticipating the barrel. Airwax, it was a good attempt. Exposed inhibitor. It's good, but it's far too early to be really meaningful.
Yeah, it gives you so much gold advantage, especially if you look at Betsy too. He's continuously operating in complete safety because he knows everybody else is busy putting out fires. Not on turrets, not yet. We don't have a second dragon buff yet, but he could just 1v1 that matchup and pull ahead in CS.
to Balmy Cinders. So ROCCAT are on fire.
Close enough.
20 CS advantage for Betsy. So as Senkuk's backed away, we're seeing him still fall further and further back. Good awareness here from Trashy and Senkuk's to steal that blue buff. If they can secure their own, it'll be an advantage that obviously ROCCAT don't have.
Tabs is looking for 600 gold right now. That's what he wants to get, finish his item. Hopefully before Kabe gets too much items of himself.
I'm talking about items, Crepo. 5 pink wards. You talked about vision a few minutes ago and how
Isn't it beautiful? Can we just
playing?
have a moment to appreciate?
I want to see how they use them before I get too excited.
Shh, don't ruin my dreams, man.
I'm thinking
Pause.
one step ahead.
Pause to just end the game right here.
Well, ROCCAT would like to do that. Remember, this inhibitor is exposed. There is a package underneath Betsy, and they're going to set their sights on Copy. This will be a very easy first blood. Secured by Betsy and Airwax. Jungle Gravity.
Crouching Tiger, flying Betsy, flies in, finishes the kill. I mean, the lane can't get longer at this point in the game. 3 towers down on one side, 1 on the other, and Colby and Nisbeth completely path in blind, and they just get picked off. So far, Splyce have shown no prediction of enemy movement whatsoever. They were late to defending their inhibitor tower before 10 minutes. That's something I planned on saying today. Then they moved into an enemy lane blind, and they didn't predict a Corki package rotation into a pickoff. So very standard plays on this patch. Props, obviously, to ROCCAT for pulling it off. Really good early game so far, but that's what we're used to them.
Yeah.
They have been playing fantastic early games so far in this season.
Yeah, to put a number to that, now average lead is not a great stat, because you can be ahead, you can be behind, and face it. But traditionally, ROCCAT have got an average gold lead of around 500 gold at 10 minutes. They've more than quadrupled that this game.
Yep.
And the problem for ROCCAT is once you get out of that laning phase, they tend to get a little lost. We'll expand on that idea shortly as ROCCAT secure the first dragon. Trashy is left in the river. Support's coming around from the backside, and a teleport from Freddy in from behind. Trashy's in trouble. Unstoppable force a flash away from Cobby, but Trashy loses his life.
Yeah, but a 4v5 contest, no teleport from Wunderwear into a Soraka composition. You will not kill a single soul. Perhaps Soraka. Wunderwear stuck in the top lane, getting CS again, side lane, and this is something we're used to seeing from Splyce. A lot of their resources go to Wunderwear in the side lane, but he can never translate it into damage because he's barely in the fights, and when he does, he kind of storms in and dies. So this is something wrong with Splyce. If you play such a heavy crowd control composition, you really need to like layer them, use them, make good use of the crowd control. Freddy with a good teleport here, enabling his team, playing a tank. He can be slightly behind, but he still knows his purpose.
Yeah. As long as he gets somebody with that unstoppable force. Here's a replay of that.
So at this point, Splyce is aggressively contesting this dragon. They know it's down, but they're still going for the fight. Wunderwear can TP at any given moment on Spiderlings, on that ward you see on your screen right here, on any creep whatsoever. He chooses not to, or Splyce choose not to use a teleport on him. Yet at the same time, they still go for a dragon contest. This is, just no synergy, no communication, and we have to point that out.
We'll see if Splyce can recover. Wunderwear committing to the split push game somewhat. We'll work towards that ZZ Rot. We're seeing it gain some popularity.
And ROCCAT with their 4-3 tower lead here have done a fantastic job getting Kog'Maw to the state where he wants to be. First item finished. Kinsey's Rage Blade. Obviously it stacks super quickly when Kog'Maw pops his W. And for people that don't know the item, obviously it deals bonus magic damage on hit. Well, Kog'Maw hits a lot and very often.
And, on 6-3, got that attack speed from his Q, actually moved into the W as well. So Biocane a little bit more natural. And, you know, for ROCCAT, they equal Giants' losing streak of 9 games. They've got themselves off to a good start now.
We could have said it, but we made a graphic for it. ROCCAT's on 9 games losing. In case you weren't listening to us.
It drives it home.
No, definitely so. 9-game losing streak in an 18-game split.
Is tough. Is tough. That's 50% of the games, Crepo. I'm confident in that
casters never do math on stream.
Does that really count as math? I mean, technically, probably, but it's actually more embarrassing than anything else. But the problem for ROCCAT is the games that they have lost, many of those, have been after mistakes in the mid-game. Let's see if they make any more. ROCCAT playing very intelligent. They're pushing top, maybe as a reply to Splyce pushing bottom.
I mean, they are down teleport, so trading making trading moves is generally considered good if you're down to teleport. If you could trade a teleport tower while you wait for your teleport to come up again, that's a fair trade because you used your teleport to get ahead earlier. This is a time where Splyce should use theirs to kind of nullify that lead you got earlier. But ROCCAT again, Rift Herald. Every time we see this, they've been continuously picking it up and just sieging with that Kog'Maw. Extinct is playing medic, PvE, with healing creeps, but fantastically so.
Yep. He's keeping the pushes alive, Crepo. It's allowed ROCCAT to get 5 towers to 4.
I hope he doesn't get too attached to these minions though. It's like, I got you, siege creep, I'm gonna keep you alive, but eventually...
I mean, if he gets Banner of Command...
all creeps die. No, I used to love doing that as support. You get Baron buff eventually, don't know how, we'll leave that in the middle. Then you go Banner of Command, and you have an unkillable siege creep with maximum range.
And Soraka.
And Soraka. That's when you start naming your creeps. You get attached to them.
Nobody on broadcast is brave enough to name those minions, because it's your responsibility. You are the Baron power minion namer.
I just
It'll
want,
come.
I want Banner of Command.
It will come soon, I'm sure. One way or the other. Blue buff is respawned in the Splyce jungle and instantly Airwax goes to contest. That's 3 in a row that they've been able to secure.
And we're seeing ROCCAT kind of make good use of what is considered the counterplay against heavy CC compositions. It's splitting them up. You always want them to be as far as apart from each other because they kind of enable each other once they're close in range. That's what Splyce is looking for right now. Teleport and Fate Skull into knock-up.
It's over already. Extinct and Betsy are down. That was the double TP play Splyce we're looking for, and this should open up a mid-turret 2.
Yeah, a point made. Case in point, you know, they split them up very well, but then they forgot about teleport, and suddenly Splyce figure out that if they layer their CCs, they can do absolutely disgusting amounts of damage without any counterplay. Soraka and Betsy dropped in the same frame. Well played by Splyce.
And almost as if on point, Freddy gets pulled in by the depth charge, the dredge line rather. But they managed to hold onto the inner turret. ROCCAT, they pull ahead, they make positive plays, they have deep vision, and then they forget about the potential double TP.
But it's almost a price worth paying. 2 kills, tower maybe not. Let's watch this again. So teleport comes in, both TPs. Is it on the same ward?
Yeah.
It's actually super deceptive because they expect 1 TP and suddenly both of them are coming out and you don't know who jumps out first. So that is good play to both teleport on the same ward. However, teleports have been used, ultimates have been used, and the gold lead is still slightly in ROCCAT's favor. They now have a 5-minute window, or maybe 3.5, 4 by now if you're nitpicking, where Freddy has teleport enabled. A lot of flashes were potentially used, actually, no. Splyce managed to maintain at least 4 flashes, but this is a window of opportunity for ROCCAT.
Let's see if they can open it and reveal anything. This mid-outer turret's down to very, very low hit points, 200 or 300. Dragon's up as well. 6.3, Dragon number 2 will give you that dot damage over time on enemy turrets. If ROCCAT want to peel away, but I think the gold value of that outer turret is way more juicy. ROCCAT pick it up, literally uncontested.
Yeah.
Splyce had to concede.
Using the zone, if Splyce can't flank to open with the CC, it's just too hard to get there because Extinct will always hide behind his wall of tanks and then keep them alive. Well, by all means, Splyce needs to be able to flank somewhere.
It's going to be tough to do without those TPs. 50% of the cooldown's used, so 2.5 minutes before that one comes available again. And for ROCCAT, they're easing their Kog'Maw into this mid-game. 7,000 gold to the 6,600 a Kobe.
Yeah.
Sitting on 1,200, getting closer to what I'm expecting to be the Hurricane.
Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the build, it's Ginsu's into Hurricane, and you just want to position him just at the edge of the fight. Make him do crazy amounts of AoE damage on hit on as many targets as you can. Continuously hitting and then backing off when W's on cooldown. That's something teams forget to play around, both offensively and defensively. Kog'Maw doesn't always have that W available. 7-second cooldown though. Right now. Does he actually have it? Let's see how long did it last.
0 points into Q.
It has
next on W.
Yeah, he has it available every 7 seconds and it lasts 6 seconds. So, okay, new Kog'Maw.
Pretty strong.
Much have his
Pretty
whole,
strong.
It used to be the counterplay to Kog'Maw where, okay, W down, engage. So you now have a 1 second window where you want to do that.
Well, luckily for Splyce, they've got so much CC that if they can get some of it to connect, it'll help. Freddy's building is his Europe portal as well, so we're going to see some, well, potentially we're going to see some of these minion battles. I also want to talk about Extinct's itemization. Eye of the Oasis, as well as lucidity boots. Is that what you expect on a Soraka on 6-3?
Yeah, it's the rushing medic. Her passive makes her move quicker to low health. To low health, you know, and then she wants to rush in. But I have to wait. Oh no, she actually didn't go for the finish one. Never mind. Yeah, you just want the gold generation item. You don't want spell thieves because it kind of invites you to get close, you know, to get the spot up. That's what Soraka doesn't want to do. So you just build items that you get free gold off. Usually we saw the rushing medic, but she went talisman, but he opts up for the equivalent of just ward bot. A safer approach again.
Safer, smarter.
Yeah.
Better, stronger. That's what Extinct wants to do to help out Betsy and Tabs.
Is that a new remix?
Trinity Force.
Safer, better, smarter.
I was straining my memory. I just couldn't find it. So Trinity Force for Betsy. He's just been farming away. All of the pressure he earned on Senkux has somewhat been nullified by this open map. And Senkux playing wave clear. But now we're in this exciting battle, Crepo. 2 wet noodles and a void minion army.
I mean, they kind of don't hit each other anymore. The wet noodle fight has kind of evolved into like a Pokemon battle. It's like,
I choose you.
I choose you, and then you again, and you again. Kind of evenly matched. So that's a snooze fest. The problem with that open map that you mentioned is that whenever ROCCAT moving closer, if they don't have perfect vision denial, Splyce can always teleport on some ward somewhere, maybe on a Spiderling from Trashy, and they can find a way into the fight, rush in. Now that the automatic home guards will be enabled right now, suddenly ROCCAT will have to be very careful, and that's why we see more wards on Extinct too. Just want to get as much vision as you can, avoid fights.
And that vision denial is going to become even more important to not make that mistake. You can see ROCCAT's visions all the way in the river. Once the champions start moving, 2 pink wards in the south river, there's 3 stealth wards in the north river. All of a sudden, the ROCCAT may have a flank opportunity. Betsy's way too far away. Cocoon finds Airwax. He's got the disengage from the Flask. He's got Flash. He's got Body Slam. Holds his nerve, actually. Very confident in the face of a lot of potential in game.
Yeah, even though Senkux is a very skirmish-heavy laner, where he usually runs Ignite, I like that he's bringing Teleport to the table, because it allows him to soak side lane farm. An issue he generally has on the Splyce roster is where he doesn't take up any farm, less farm, in 15 to 30 minutes. Obviously, most of it going to Wunderwear as beneficiary, and then the remaining 4-man lineup from Splyce grouping. By playing this 1-3-1 style with Teleport, Splyce is maximizing the farm on the map, and in addition to that, putting flying pressure on ROCCAT, so that's a really good choice of a summoner that has a very high impact on this game.
Let's see if Senka can use it. He's had one very good TP gank. Well, there is a banner, not the banner we're looking for yet, but it still counts. And Freddy with that Sunfire Cape changed on 6-3, help you push those minion waves out. Airwax ports out, pulverize into the cocoon, body slams down. Extinct has already used Wish. They've turned their attention onto Trashy. Trashy gets pinned against the wall temporarily as Betsy was able to arrive, but we're expecting a few more of those style fights, I feel.
Malphite trying to kill a buff teeth creep is always hilarious because he can only use auto attacks, obviously.
Yeah, Sunfire doesn't help.
Nope.
He does have a ZZ Rot though. He can bring in the power of the void to help him out.
Trevor, you talked about this earlier. ROCCAT, incredibly good early game. Slow in the mid game. I think we're seeing it again here. Just, is it hesitation? Is it respect? Is it lack of wards as a foundation? Could be all of these things and more, but ROCCAT just kind of even on gold again against Splyce. They do outscale with the Cogmaw. If he dies though, the remaining parts of the fight have plenty of damage to take each other down.
We have to talk about the ZZ Rot placements, because now we get to judge them. Who uses their ZZ Rot better? Thank you, observers, for highlighting the exact point. And currently, ROCCAT pushing top. So vision, deep vision from Splyce into the jungle of ROCCAT, but it doesn't help.
It's in too deep at this point. They may as well be sub 41 because that vision doesn't allow you to teleport and then go for a fight because home guards wears off by the time you get to the lane. So Splyce have to deal with ROCCAT in their jungle right now. ROCCAT littered with wards. This is good. This is the Baron setup. So they can repeat this play, push top, push mid, hopefully bot eventually too, and then rotate to the Baron. They can make a play, but obviously Splyce is not letting that happen. Their counterplay is to push all lanes and put some pressure. That's the cost of that deep vision, and it may very well be one tower in the mid lane.
Splyce will sneak this mid tower, not yet. No minions, which means that additional armor is going to help out that inner turret. Support coming from the rest of ROCCAT. And Splyce are in retreat.
Yep.
Will get their hands on their first dragon of the game.
Let's see. ROCCAT, the correct move for them would not be to rush to the Baron right now. As a panic play, it's like, oh, they're doing Dragon, go to Baron. No. You use the time they spend on Dragon to push out the bot lane. Then you group your forces while that's pushing to push out mid and top, and then you go for the Baron play.
Luckily for ROCCAT, they've got a Banner of Command on Airwax. It's going to give them the opportunity to push a lane. A little bit AFK if they decide to back away. 2 teleports for Splyce are available.
Yeah.
And you can see that bottom wave will slowly start pushing towards the Splyce half of the map. So Crepo ROCCAT, in theory, following these steps one by one.
Yeah.
How does Splyce counter it?
I mean, they try to right there. When your enemy is in the setup phase of a play, you try to like find their weak spot, try and engage. Splyce side with a flank there, they send Senkix mid. If Betsy went for one more wave push, perhaps, you know, we see the flank hard engage there on the Soraka. Yeah, we saw the mirror right there. I saw you laugh. It's like, Malphite trying to deal with siege creep. Imagine if you're Senkix.
Yeah, exactly. Wonder where he's going to look to kill this easy rot.
Takes a while, by the way.
I mean, he literally has a wet noodle.
No, he literally has an axe.
It's an anchor, isn't it?
Is it? Maybe.
Yeah, I just doubted. Like, I said it so confidently. But well,
No, you're right. I yield. It is a wet noodle.
Senkix finally killed the Banner empowered minion, and Crepo.
Wet noodle's in trouble though.
He is indeed. Dredgeline onto Airwax. 5 members will run him down. How long can he delay them? Not particularly. The rest of Splyce, they're going to push the middle lane. There's minions to work with. In a second, that was her Spiderlings.
Alright, Senkix is running mid, so they want to stop this Baron. They may need to teleport him over though.
30 seconds. Baron is going relatively quickly. Wonder where will be up in exactly 29.
But they're trapped in the Baron pit if they go for this play. Flash combo could be really bad here for Tabs.
Tabs spending some time. That's a 3-man knockup. Here comes Trashy. Tabs is caught by the Cocoon as well. Wish has been used, but the disengage from the explosive cast was very good. Senkix still looking to run Tabs down. Goes golden thanks to Hourglass. Freddy's lost his life, but he may have bought enough time. Tabs is still alive. By Arcane Barrage will be available very shortly. 5 seconds until Wonderwear comes up, and it's a 3 for 3.
Oh, crucial fight here for both teams. Some really good re-engage counter moves by both of these squads. We'll wait to get into that once we get to the replay, but all in all, 3 for 3. Baron avoided, even though ROCCAT made a good move picking off Wonderwear, who was overextended in the top lane. Still waiting for that.
Splyce take the gold lead, thanks to the last few minutes of play.
Now look at that Baron creep. Usually you can push that Baron creep, or that banner creep here, and then move away. See if you can put some pressure on another lane. That's exactly what Wonderwear is doing here. We saw the power of teamfight with all that CC though, even though Tabs flashed out. This is initial catch on Wonderwear. And then we'll fast forward to see what's happening. Look where Senkix is right now on the map, and he still makes it to the Baron in time. What I want you to watch out for is the counter engage from Airwax on the claw from Lissandra. Then the silent zone that gets hopefully put on afterwards. I think Mixing does it. This map opens up with a beautiful combo here eventually. On 3 people, I believe. Combo comes in. Look here. The Malphite ulti initially actually from Freddy cancels Senkix before he can get in range, because otherwise Tabs is instantly dead. Good exhaust here from Extinct right time. He runs out of health, so he can't heal anymore. And then eventually everybody kind of kills each other. Karma remaining alive. But if this happens later in the game and Tabs actually has a QSS, there will be very little Senkix can do. Once Tabs can cleanse out these hard CCs, combined with a good Soraka positioning, these fights will be incredibly hard for Splyce to win. They need to be knockups at that point. Yeah. They have to be knockup into Fate's Call.
Luckily there's enough of those. A lot of those, in fact, on both squads. And more banners being built as well. Nisbet's got his very own banner-empowered minion.
Yeah, Tabs is actually not even going for the whole I'll get rid of your CC route. It's more of a come at me build. Going for Malva, Mortius, later Sterex.
Respect flash from Cobby. So he does survive, but now he's at risk of being caught out. Teleport's available for Freddy, as is Unstoppable Force. So Splyce cannot afford to push deep and run the risk of being caught by one of those knockouts.
Yeah, they don't have to be split pushing though. They were kind of overdoing it, buying into ROCCAT's game. Their power lies in grouping, strength in numbers here. Bot lane is pushing in. Package has not been picked up yet. Betsy's basing for that. Vision control. And we're starting the Baron here, guys. Have been spotted.
Let's take a look. Package will be collected by Betsy, which means he can zoom into the fight very quickly. And Splyce maybe realizing the threat, don't want to run the risk of being caught by Gragas and Malphite in the pit. They back out to play it safe. So that accelerated tower game early has slowed down the mid game, and now we're hitting the later stages where playing the side lanes with these Banner of Commands and ZZ Rots and TPs.
Yeah, it kind of becomes a game of chess where you suddenly have like 3 extra pieces to play with that you somehow have to fit all on the board. Got to make use of a lot of good banner timings. Make sure you're in base in time, know when a cannon wave spawns, know when to use it, because there's optimal timings for it and there's times where it's kind of wasted. If you send your banner creep in to a massive wave, if you look at the wave that's amassing on the bot lane right now, it has a banner creep of ROCCAT. If Splyce use theirs, send it in, it'll still die, it'll be waste. So they need to wait for that wave to hit, then send the banner out themselves, and stack up a wave. Wonder where here getting rotated upon. Betsy's looking for a package, but that's expired, I believe, right now. He just used it to rotate into the jungle right there. So package is down. The ROCCAT have control of the Baron vision, so Splyce put a blue trinket on the Baron and they're looking to push. And this is exactly what we were talking about. Yeah, sure, it's, you know, one creep on each side, but look at the massive wave supporting it. It's an essentially wasted Banner of Command creep.
Yeah, we'll see how quickly ROCCAT's Banner Empowered Minion will take it down. Teleport's come out. It's Wonderwood that's arriving first. Another great knockup from Nisbet. They found Tabs. Airwax will be the first victim. Tabs is trying to back away. Fateful knocks him out. He's frozen in place. And this will be a magnificent fight for Splyce. They haven't killed him yet. Tabs is still surviving. He's still firing. He's way more important than a turret. And Tabs survives everything.
That has to be Extinct MVP though. That's when you guys, he's low and you switch target, and he just stands still and just whacks away. Runeounce, AoE, Ginster's Rage Blade, Hextrigger Puck, and so many heals from Soraka. And Splyce with a beautiful flank, but you gotta finish him off. Until you hear his corpse exploding, that's when you switch targets, never earlier.
I was convinced he was taken out, but he just survived through everything.
And this is one of those picks. If you're not experienced in playing against Soraka, you will make these mistakes. If you happen to scrim 80 win every week, you will not make these mistakes because you will have learned the hard way. You always finish your play and you always finish your targets against Soraka. Let's see it again. This bet goes in. Few flashing tabs, good. Wunderwear did not have home guards here. Look, he's sending in the knockup on the tabs. Sankux layers that with his ultimate. At this point, just staying alive. Look at Extinct, just healing, healing, healing. Until he dies himself. Tabs. Putting on a clinic. Support of his medic.
Shift right click. But it works.
You get a hit, you get a hit. Everybody gets a hit. And at this point, if you don't take out Extinct first.
Wow, good luck doing that. Teleport coming in. Senkex joining the fight. Baron's down to 2,000 hit points. Tabs continuing to focus it down. Actually secures the final hit. Betsy firing out the rockets on the sideline. Airwax and Freddy, they found themselves too. There's a shutdown onto Extinct, but the damage is already done. A triple kill for Betsy. A double kill for Tabs. That may even be the game.
Yeah, Splyce move in with all their CC, but they just can't get anybody killed, and only Extincts end up dying.
Confident play there from ROCCAT to finish it out. Just as they're making their way to the Nexus turret, the ZZ Rod, despite being disabled and live, it is a very intentional placement that causes the bug. That's why we're seeing it here in the tournament round. Crepo will touch on the game in a second. For now, ROCCAT walk into the base uncontested and break their 9-game losing streak.
Tabs. I agree with you, what the hell? This has to be like the most anticlimactic aces at the end of the game I've ever seen. It's just Cogwall standing still with Soraka.
Still counts, Crepo.
Oh, it still counts. No, I love it when a Soraka comp works. I think there's a certain amount of disgust to it that I take joy in. Where support actually has such a large impact on a game and becomes such a nuisance to deal with.
And it was great seeing the two team fights back to back, where Tabs leads up to getting the first ace, and he's the focus. Splyce throw everything to try kill him, and Extinct is untouched. Then in the Baron pit, Splyce throw everything to kill Extinct, and Tabs is still untouched, but he's still just getting all the damage down. difficult situation for Splyce.
Yeah, the beauty of that is that if you time your wish well, would extinct, it's a dangerous game, but basically you want Tabs to get his Sterix passive popped, then he obviously grows in size and strength. I'm totally not reading the tooltip right here. But no, he gets that Sterix passive, and he gets extra lifesteal in those fights, which in turn keep him alive. So you kind of want to make him drop low to a comfortable 20%. Then use your wish because it's more efficient on low HP. Then spam heal him up again if you can. And at that point, he's just, yeah, Juggernaut.
Yeah.
He becomes a Juggernaut and he just completely wrecks these fights. And we saw it, Splyce, they ran out of damage. They ran out of time. They had a really good pincer double TP once, but they couldn't really repeat that.
Yeah.
Couldn't really find that opening earlier. And they kind of became a victim of their early game, very CC heavy composition.
Yeah, weren't able to find the targets early enough and quickly enough. And no Lulu this game, but the itemization makes that cog more gigantic. And there's complications now for the table. Splyce losing that game means they're now closer to ROCCAT. The head-to-head is now tied at 1-1. And as we get closer and the weeks roll on, that is meaningful impact on either your seed going into promo relegation, or more importantly, who makes 7th, who makes it to safety. So we'll have to talk about those later in the day. For now, we're headed on stage with